Call this meeting to order. Let's stand and recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. Let's pray. We recognize our dependence on you and ask for your help in making this meeting productive. We pray for clear minds, efficient communication, and effective problem solving. Brief moment for your own intentions. A motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Motion is second to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Brings us to opportunity for public comment. Those wishing to public comment or share something with the commission. There'll be no action taken on these items. I'll offer 3 minutes per person during this time. Green light's on. It'll be on.
It's not on. You have to push the button.
There we go. Thank you.
Seating.
Yeah, sorry about that. Good morning. I'm James Heron with Teamsters Local 120. I represent the Highway Department and the Sheriff's Department here in Meade County. The reason I'm in here today is I just want to provide a little input. I see on HR's projects on the agenda down the road, it says 2026 market wage adjustment for Condry Associates, effective 12/22/25. Annual step increases paused for 2026, 2027 COLA. I'm just asking, as long as we're still in negotiations, that no action would be taken on these items because we're still having open dialogue on the negotiations part of this. The groups are very pleased with you guys taking the forward steps to do the wage study. It shows that you realize that the number one resource of the county is your employees. They're out there, they're the public's eye. They're out there in the highway department, they're out there cleaning the roads, and your sheriff's department are responding to calls. Your dispatchers are taking emergency calls. And your correctional officers are keeping the inmates safe while serving the community. So with that, I just wanted to touch base with you, introduce myself to the whole commission, and ask you please not to take action on that item if there was going to be action.
Thank you, Mr. Aaron. Anybody else for public comment? Yeah. If the green light comes on.
Oh, sorry
There you
about that. Okay. My name is Rhonda Hook, and I live on Norman Avenue, which is Meade County, of course. And we live on the north-south, and on the directly adjacent to the Somerset's Highland Ranch development. And my question is concerning the section line that is adjacent to us and them. And the section line is, we share. There used to be a fence up there, and they took the fence down, which is fine. I tried to get a final plat. They still don't have a final plat. You used to be able to get a preliminary plat off the internet on their website, and you can't get that anymore. I was going to bring it and show you. But the development, they've been working on their infrastructure since they approved the preliminary plat, and they have now dug up the section line, and I don't know who has jurisdiction over that, because I'm Meade County, I am not Somerset, and so I've been trying to find out who has jurisdiction, because it was my understanding you can't dig it up and obstruct it, and that's what they've done, because there's a hill there, and they've taken part of that hill out. So part of the hill is on our property, part of it is on theirs. And so I'm trying to get to the bottom of that. I called Meade County, they said not us. Oh, there you go, yep. And I called Somerset, and they said they didn't know anything about it, so they went out and checked on it. And they haven't gotten back to me yet, but they don't know anything about it. So I don't know who gave them. I thought you had to have permission to do something like that. I thought you couldn't touch it, and so I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it.
But when you turn the property boundary or the city limit boundary on.
Yeah. So are you talking about the section line along Norman?
Yes, that runs adjacent between our property and theirs.
Okay.
So ours is the dark blue, theirs is the light, and that is a section line. And the road goes over our property,
Right. The road.
and then we own some of the property on the other side of the road.
The road does not follow the section line.
Correct. I wish it did. Could we change that?
If you would like to put that in, you sure could.
I want them to. But if you see, there's a hill when you get to the north end. There's a hill there, and they've taken part of that hill out, which is going to cause erosion on our side of the hill eventually.
So, this is a question maybe for
Yep.
Ken. Section lines, if Somerset has their portion of the section line, and I don't know if they're vacating that in the plat, they could be vacating that in the plat. It's because it's inside the city limits.
I don't think they could do it without letting the neighbor know. And I'm not sure the city's power to vacate.
It's on the section line, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So her land the road is outside of it. Section line's half in the county, half in the city.
Right.
No,
Yeah, Ken,
I went to their,
Ken, we
their
need you,
website.
Ken, we need you to come up to the mic if you're going to speak, please.
Obviously, this is the first time I've heard of it, so don't have any research on it. In general, this would be within their platting jurisdiction, would be my assumption. So the plat would be done there. So, I don't know what the plat does on their half of the section line. They cannot affect our half of the section line. That would be something that we would have to approve to vacate, approve, or improve, or do anything with.
I think that's probably right. There was another issue on this, Ken, because they had actually approached for, I think, an approach permit to that road, but it went across the Hooks property. There's a portion of the Hooks property that's on the east side of the road.
Yeah.
Because it comes off there, and we said you don't own that portion, neither do we, so we couldn't give them an approach. I think it changed up their actual plat because of that. Yeah, I would agree. I think you're right. I think that they can't make it on the city side of the section line. If the city's letting them do it, they certainly could. On the county side, if they're doing something on the county side of the section line,
But
they should come to the county. If they're doing anything on your property, they should come to you.
And they haven't touched our side of the property yet, aside from, just their trucks being on there and their equipment. But they haven't dug it up. But it affects our property because it's a hill.
Well, if they've dug up the city side of the section line, they should have gone through the city for permission for that as well.
And apparently they didn't because they didn't know they did it. But they went out, they do now because I called them, and they went out to check on it. But what do they have to do to secure the hill?
Well, I would assume, this is an assumption, that they'd have to have that in their erosion control permit because they're disturbing more than an acre.
Okay.
But I don't know anything of, this is the first I've really heard of this, so not sure what's going on.
So my understanding was that you couldn't do an obstruction of a section line, and it is because it's gone.
Miss Vig, could you come forward, please? Do you know anything about? You just walked in, which is your bad luck. But
Welcome to the fire.
Has this come up in planning at all? Do you know anything?
I haven't looked at this in quite a while. Over 6 months, I did the preliminary plat review with City of Somerset, and some stuff has been brought up with the section line, and we have just gotten the annexation drawings, and I know we're going back and forth to work on it, but I haven't tied into it for over 6 months. But I am aware of the section line and that Norman Avenue, I'm assuming you're the property in blue, that her property went back and forth.
Would you mind contacting the city of Somerset to see if and to get us some more information? Because all we can do is make speculations on this right now. And I would refer Ms. Hook to talk to you about this is because, like I say, we're just making speculations right now, and we don't really know what Somerset's done. I would assume even if they vacate section line, they'd at least have to have a hearing. But I don't follow Somerset that much.
Yeah,
They have or not.
I don't know the requirements of
So
the city.
if you could look into that, Miss Vig, I'd appreciate that.
Yes.
And if you would want to just visit with Miss Vig, she's our planning director, and she's very knowledgeable on this stuff, and so we can probably get to the bottom of it and see if there's something that was wrong, done wrong. So,
Okay,
and,
wonderful.
And we'll take it up.
Thank you so
Ms.
much. I
Hook.
appreciate it.
Anybody else want to speak on public comment?
Rhea, is that 31 and 32? I think it's under I-90 over there. All right.
So I just, J.D. Hewitt is here. He came into my office. I thought maybe it'd be a good idea for him to come down for public comments since I don't have him on the agenda or anything. It's for the AR Ranch TIF, and he can give you an update during public comment.
Great. I'll give him 3 minutes, Mr. Hewitt.
So thank you for this kind of a spur of the moment, but just wanted to make you aware that we are going back through planning. We're seeking to be placed on the December 1st Planning Board meeting, and just frankly kind of feel that we have that the two ends haven't been meeting on this and this TIF application. And you know, to be honest, you know, our end goal is to have a good, safe public road at the end of this. We're basically holding our hand out to offer to pave this road, redesign it, and pave it, and based on a TIF financing program. And so I just wanted to make you aware that we're going to take another run at this, and I think a lot of the public outcry about this was really without basis and misinformed, and I think a lot of that has subsided. So just wanted to mainly make you aware. I didn't plan on coming today, you know, but we've been working with the, I guess, planning department on, you know, kind of the best route to kind of refresh this and kind of hopefully hit the reset with the planning board. I think they got intimidated. I think they didn't fully understand how TIF financing worked, and quite honestly, I think it's a tremendous opportunity for the county to use, or a tremendous tool for the county to use to improve infrastructure. So we're just we want to take another run at it.
So if you're going to do that, I think it would be very helpful if the HOA would support it as opposed to the actual homeowners that would benefit by opposing it.
Sure. We are going to have we're going to offer to meet with the HOA people, and, you know, explain, I guess, the situation. I think, as you are well aware, a lot of the argument was, like I said, without basis and inaccurate information. And given that, you know, the conversations I've had with the people in the HOA after those meetings was that the comments, frankly, were that the HOA president has lost a lot of favor in the community and with the HOA because I think she misrepresented what actually happens in it.
Well, they probably confused more than anything. Obviously, I sat through those planning meetings that people kept thinking their tax would specifically go up. Seemed to be prevalent amongst the people that live out there, which was wrong and which I said multiple times. But I think, I'm just telling you, I think it would be difficult for the planning to get beyond it if the local people living there that would benefit the most are opposing it. That was a big sway amongst them.
Okay, appreciate that.
Agree with Talbot. I think it's going to be a big lift. It's always a hard lift to bring something back, especially when someone and just say you were wrong. So I would just recommend, if you're going to do this, to have to just sit and visit with the people that live out there. That's just a recommendation. You can do it however you want to do it. So.
Well, we'd like to do that with them. I don't want to overuse my time, but part of this is part of the comments where this came up out of the blue and kind of out of nowhere, and to me, frankly, we came to this commission a year ago last June asking about the possibility, the feasibility, and whether there would be support. You made some recommendations in terms of redefining the TIF district that we proposed. We made those changes. We made every change that was requested, and for the planning board, really, frankly, to bury this without the commission having an opportunity to look at it. I
understand, and we followed the statutes, and so we can argue one way or another, but the statutes were followed. We did take a final vote on it. To my understanding, and Mr. Clever had come forward if I'm saying something wrong, but the planning board sets the boundaries, and they also made a recommendation for us not to approve, and we followed through. So that's where it was at. So you can go about this any which way. You certainly have a right to bring this back, and I have nothing against that. But I was just giving you a recommendation.
So I wasn't aware that the commission ever actually voted on it. The meeting that I was at, it was deferred because Commissioner Leggett wasn't available, and so then after the planning board reversed their position and refused to advance it to the commission, I guess my information was that we weren't going to be on the commission's.
I'll have to look back at the minutes and see what action was taken. But it was my understanding. I think the Commissioner Izorek, I believe you said that you would like us to uphold their decision or something to that effect.
I think the question was whether the commission had to make a motion to close that application. And so I made a motion just to adopt their application. So I don't see that prevents you from resubmitting that way. But there was a technical question as to whether the application would still be pending. So there was that motion. It wasn't that there was a determination on the merits to administratively close the application.
And our hands were tied. There was no boundaries for us to approve.
Right.
So there really was no decision for us to make.
Okay.
Because they have to, by statute, set the boundaries of a TIF. So therefore, if they don't set boundaries, there's really nothing for a commission to approve. And that was discussed right after the planning meeting. I was there. I believe Mr. Trelaw, who authored your TIF, asked me what my opinion was, and I said I don't want to give advice. I would recommend consulting with an attorney if there's question on this. But I didn't see our meeting was coming up. I said I don't see what decision the commission has to make since there's no boundaries to approve or disapprove.
Well, I guess a little undetermined about the process that all of this has to take, but at the end of the day here, I guess our position really, whether the TIF is approved and the road is paved or not, our position is that is a public road. It's not a subdivision road. And so we will treat it as such. And so I guess I think this is an opportunity for the county. I think you have nothing to lose by approving this. That's my position or my view. And ultimately, obviously, it's your decision.
You had something, Commissioner Creed?
Well, as you know, I was at the planning meeting. I also recall we did have a vote. I don't recall the exact motion, but Talbot was the only one who voted in favor. The other 4 commissioners voted against. I do not believe the information I presented at the Planning Commission was erroneous, and I have not changed my opinion. Sorry about that.
Well,
even though we came in together, and I respect everybody's opinion, and it
sure.
At this point in time, I cannot foresee voting for any private county TIF that the county itself is not asking for, such as what we just did on Haynes Avenue. I believe until the financial situation of counties and the school district, etc., changes, I will probably be holding that view. And as long as a TIF is 20 years long, I just can't go forward with it.
Yeah, well, this is projected to be paid in 10.
Yeah,
but
Mr. You've got plenty of time. I don't mean to be rude, but you got plenty of time to sell this to us. If there's any, I've given you plenty of time. Does any other commissioner have anything to say before Mr. Hewitt?
I mean, I'd echo, making sure that the HOA is on board. They're really your biggest hurdle.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt.
Oh, okay. The motion, I do have some further information. The motion to deny the AR TIF, known as TIF number 3. Motion by Wazorek, second by Creed, to have it. The motion carries 4-1. All the commissioners except for Commissioner Wazorek voted to deny the TIF. And that was at the August 18th meeting.
August 12th.
August 12th, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And Mr. Trelaw was here that day. Trelaw was here that day, as I recall. I'm sorry, our agenda is always public on board docs.
But I believe again, we spent way more time than we need to on this. A conversation was had between Mr. Trelaw, and he asked what we would be deciding. He asked about referring it. I didn't take notes, so I can't remember every exact thing. Mr. Wazorek was there. I stood right there. He asked what decision we would be making, because it was going to have to be on our agenda, the way I recall, after the planning meeting. So I said, I don't think we have a decision to make, was my answer. It's on the agenda, but I don't know what decision is there to make, because there was no boundaries set. And so if there's no boundaries set, how can you approve anything? So that was my answer to Mr. Trelaw, if I remember the conversation correctly. So to close it out, in fact, I believe I'd have to go back and watch the video, but I, as chair, said I don't think we have anything to make on this decision. Commissioner Wazorek said I think it'd be appropriate if we would close it out. I believe was the exact, maybe not the exact words, some of the words you used. Yeah. So that was, the motion was to just go along with what planning.
Yeah, it was on our agenda because it was on our agenda.
And it
so
had
just to close it, I made the motion to adopt that position just to close it.
So
it was a procedural question that seemed to make sense at the time.
Yeah, and Mr. Trelaw was aware, I don't know if you were, but he was aware that it was going to be on the agenda because that conversation was had. Like I said, it's still on the agenda. I believe Ms. Vig asked if we should take it off. I said, I don't think we can. I think we have to leave it on the agenda, but there's no decision that we can make. We can't reverse that decision because we don't have anything in statute saying that we can set the boundaries. That's up to the planning committee. So, anyway, thank you for your...
And thank you so much. Again, I don't want to oppose basically an offer.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hewitt.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for public comment? Anybody else have anything for public comment? Not, I'm going to close public comment at this time. Equalization.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rhea Crane, Director of Equalization. I have included 4 reports in my board docs agenda item. You will see that November 1st is our January 1, so to speak, where our staff concentrates on building inspection, property inspections for building permits, and finalizing our reappraisal project so that we can start valuing for the 26 assessment year. John did get the Marshall and Swift values updated, so as we study our sales ratio, we can start valuing the properties that they have visited all summer. So that's where our focus is at this time. We have also been receiving the exempt notifications, exempt applications that have been coming in. I don't have a date for you yet for diligent. They were actually non-responsive to my email last week, so we're just kind of in a holding pattern there until we can get staff trained and hopefully get you trained before we go live with that.
Any questions for equalization?
It looks like housing prices are starting to decrease,
It does appear that way.
which is
Definitely slowed down, and
a good sign for buyers and taxpayers.
and as we study the sales analysis reports, if we have the opportunity to lower assessments, we certainly will.
Anything else for equalization? Now let's move to facilities.
Just one comment on what Doreen said before we get there. So if we're looking at this, it doesn't, they don't vary the equalization office. I think one of the reasons you're seeing average prices fall down is they're making smaller than what they had been. The square footage has gone down.
Hasn't.
So you got to be careful on those analysis. Because they might die.
Absolutely true.
Pretty soon we'll all be in one of those tiny houses they show on Facebook that you never look at. You know, where you're supposed to live in a 16 by 16 and have all the comforts of home. And a dog.
Yeah.
And how would you decorate your trees?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we just move out.
Let me know how that works out, Doreen.
I don't think it'll work.
Okay, facilities.
Morning, Commissioners. Ben Petrocco, Meade County Facilities Director here, just with a short report on some of our October workload. I don't have a whole lot to report other than what the KPI shows. I think we had right at 40 work orders, and we've been trying to get all of our outdoor fall work kind of finished up, including leaf collection, landscape, and tree trimming. We've also been working on getting our winter snow removal equipment ready, which includes tire changeouts on our plow pickup and skid steer. And then once we're done with the leaf collection, we'll get our yard lawn tractor set up for plowing. We were able to complete our yearly oil change and service maintenance on our 6 permanent generators. And I was able to complete the lighting and heat tape installation on the courthouse roof. And that project is finally 100% complete now. So that's one out of the way.
That's good.
So, but yeah, they're a bit behind.
Caleb was telling us that already, even just with the preliminary work done over there. Shall I say first layer or second layer? There's about 3 layers to that, isn't there?
Yeah, they have so they tore off everything, which was metal, and then just tar paper under that, and then underneath that you got just the corrugated metal, and then they reattached some kind of board, that white board on top of that. And now the snow and ice shield is the blue stuff you're seeing that sticks down.
Yeah. They said it's already improved conditions within the jail. They've been able to eliminate well, we haven't had a lot of rain, but...
Well, we've had a couple bumps during the construction that have been bad.
Did you?
Yeah, but since they've got the blue material on there, it's better.
Yeah, we were afraid that was the permanent color.
Yeah, no, that's...
We were very happy to learn it wasn't.
Yeah. No, they're actually, they're starting to put the metal panels on today, so you'll see the darker gray panels that match the existing soffit actually really well. I was impressed that they were able to color match that close, so it'll look very similar to what was there before.
With that said, Ben sent me an email last week. Obviously, we assigned funds for that this year. If it's not complete, just everyone needs to have a heads up that that money may have to be moved to next year. So just keep us updated on that.
Yeah.
It looks like if we're only 30% complete, there's a real good chance it will be on 26 that it gets done. And that's fine. We can. It was an assignment, and so we can.
Yeah, the other project on that building that's actually scheduled for next week is the cooling tower. And again, that one's kind of a little weather dependent also, but it goes the other way. We need colder weather for that actually, so that we don't need the tower functioning during that time. So will that happen next week? I'm not 100% sure yet. We've got that scheduled, so, and that was another deal I think that we had assigned funds for.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll need to, and you don't think it's going to happen next week?
Last forecast I looked at said 50 still, and I can shut the tower down, but we'll lose any kind of air conditioning that we might need.
So the project's going to happen. Will it happen before the end of the year?
It should. It should, as long as they show up. And
so keep in mind. So you may have to get the assignment of funds on next meeting's agenda.
Okay.
So just keep in touch with Rio on that.
Yeah, I'll know more on that one for sure by next Wednesday probably.
Okay. So we can.
Other than that, we got the UPS power supply, the new one fully installed and connected in the courthouse building. That unit that was in there was around 15 years old and really outdated and towards the end of its life. So I feel a lot better now with that newer one in there. It's the same unit that we actually installed in this building a couple years ago. So we have two that match now, and all of our essential equipment in there now should be protected from any power bumps and surges. In the jail, we were able to get the heat pump replaced that was above the ceiling in the visitation lobby that served the visitation area, lobby bathrooms, and library/inmate court area. That was a pretty major project. We had to take the ceiling apart, and let's just say it barely fit up there, but it's done and back together. So good to have that one behind us. Kind of on the highway shop side of things, we had a door out at the Marcus rural shop that. Just the walk-in door, not the garage door. Door and frame we replaced. The old one was just basically rotted and needed done, so we got out there and were able to get that when we had a nice weather day. As well as a couple other door repairs on the main shop and several lighting and electrical repairs. Yes, kind of other than that, we've mostly just had our normal HVAC, plumbing, locks, and typical type work requests. We've kind of flipped over onto the winter weather a little more, so the courthouse, as I've echoed in the past, is always kind of tough to get adjusted. It takes, especially after we hit the daylight savings change, we got to go back in and reprogram a lot of the automated time frames for stuff to get the building warmed up on time and the lights to come on and off at the right time. I'm still working on some of that stuff, so.
The green lights.
Yeah, we got the green light project done. Those always look neat at night. we're going to take that down today. Today's the last night was the last night for it, so. Guess that's kind of about all I got for the month of October.
Just-
Have any other questions?
I want to go back to cooling tower. How much? What's the cost of the cooling tower project?
If I remember right, we were in the $87,000 range, somewhere in there. Don't quote me on that, but it was ballpark in there.
I
paid for part of it.
Yeah. What's that?
I paid for the material for it. I paid for the tower itself out of that assigned fund.
And we got to remember when we assign funds, that doesn't. This one's going to be fine, but it doesn't give you budgetary authority to do the project. So
I think
we went through that. That went through.
Yep, we went through it. Right, that was like January.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, it was supposed to be done last winter.
Because we approved it. Yes, we approved that one, and we approved it. We didn't move the money as well. We did. Is that right?
We did both.
I thought we moved the money over.
Yeah, it's in there.
Well, then we don't need to be on the agenda then.
It would just be a continue.
If the money's been moved. So that was my fault. I just thought I didn't know the money had been moved already.
Oh, no,
Okay.
yeah, it definitely
like the
has
first
for
one.
that project
Okay.
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was clear back in January. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it was a long time ago.
That's why I looked at you, because you're liaison.
Yeah, and it was late getting here. Procurement was just.
Yeah, the tower itself didn't show up till it was too late in the season to do it last spring.
You just about, my heart did stop for a second, because I thought it was a new project.
No.
No.
It was done in Resolution 2025-05.
Okay, thank you. So you won't need to be on the agenda if the money's already been moved.
Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to clear that up, make sure that was.
Anything else?
Hey, thank you, Mr. Petrocco. Human Resources.
Morning, Commissioners. Deborah Bransrud, Human Resource Director for Meade County. Not a lot of updates for the month of October. I do want you to know, as we had some turnover in our communications department, we do have two people going through their background check, and so they have conditional job offers, and we are in the process of interviewing for the last open position then, counting on their authorizations being good for opening positions. We finished up our open enrollment on November 4th, I think it was, on that Tuesday. Everybody was completed timely. We do have a couple issues that are still remaining, and our insurance agent, Sonia, will be following up with any employees that chose benefits such as critical illness or the cancer benefit. There are a couple riders that go along with those benefits through Colonial Life, and they'll need to go back in and make a couple clicks, so that is locked in. But she is going to reach out to each one of those through this week, and we will get that done so we're ready to go when we have to make the changes to the deductions. So that's on critical illness or cancer. So if any of the employees hear this message, just know that someone will be in touch with them. And let's see what else. We are starting to get some progress. It is November, but Jackie is finally getting the GIS billing since January this year reconciled. We still have a few open issues, and if they get those reconciled this month, we should have a good end of year. And then this will be our last year working with GIS. And we'll be moving over to a new company out of Minneapolis. It'll still be Employee Navigator, but it'll be a new company that operates it. We reviewed all of the 2026 market adjustments with the department heads prior to October 30th, and so that is completed. And we have not received any of our MERP buy-down claims since, late August, early September. They will be sending those tomorrow morning, and that should catch us up for the year. So I heard there was a bunch of them, so I'm expecting some new claims coming in, and that amount that we've been carrying that's been quite low, we'll probably see an increase in that. I do have a note on here that to share that the annual step increases are to be paused for 2026, and due to the Condrey & Associates market adjustment, those wage rates, which were 5+% increase for across the board for all of 2026, would be put in place on December 22nd, and then the annual COLA, of course, would be up to the commission next year, depending on what you would like to do. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to add. If you guys have questions for me. Nope. Okay. All right.
Thank you for getting, I know this has been a very busy time for you, and we didn't give you a lot of time, and you were shorthanded. And
it was
thank
quick.
you, and you had to contend with us.
No, we're making good progress, so that's important.
I think,
you.
You know, Deborah, you do a very nice job, and I would say that I don't think the employees realize what a great advocate you are for them.
Well, thank you, Talbot. And I'm just glad we've been able to keep their health benefits without any increases. When I had our HR group meeting last Wednesday, everybody had increases to their premiums, and we did not. We actually had a decrease, and so that's good news. And then also where we're putting out the 5+% increase for the 2026 wage adjustment, most of the counties are doing a 2 to 3%, 2.5, 2.7. Yeah, so, and it's not compensating for their increases at all in their premiums. So I think we did very good, so thank you.
I think you did very good with risky benefits, and thank
I'm sure Sonia will be glad when I'm all done harassing her with critical illness and cancer benefit fix, and we'll be on our way for next year, so that'll be good. Yeah.
They need to earn their commission.
Yes, well, they are this year, trust me.
I'm sure.
Thank you, Deborah, and I'll echo those comments. You've done a real good job on the wages and getting this together. Thank you. IT.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Meade County IT. KPI results, a little bit busier last month than normal. It always seems to happen as I start taking on new projects. The work orders start coming in with stuff breaking or needing adjusting or whatever. It's just a fact of life, I guess. Any questions on the KPI? If not, moving on to the cyber hygiene report. That's pretty standard. I know those numbers don't change, and that's a good thing for us. These are the results coming back from the DISA people, making sure that all our front-facing entities are secure and patched, etc., etc. A couple of projects that the IT department is currently working on. We're starting with the Pro Q&A for the dispatch center. There was a couple of hardware pieces that we neglected to work into, and that is being addressed currently. So there's going to probably be it's not going to get up and running as soon as the sheriff would like. We got a couple of bumps to jump over here, so that will probably be up and running mid-January or thereabouts. We're also working on Rapid SOS, and then of course I'm starting my end of life for my servers. That's starting to come up.
They're in hospice, Doreen. That's all right.
Well, no, how many servers altogether do we have?
14.
Okay, and every year we replace a couple, don't we?
Not necessarily. The physical hardware servers, you generally get, if they can be upgraded and they will take the next operating system, we generally keep them for as long as we can hardware-wise. We got 2 or 3 that are coming up, unfortunately, that are not upgradable. Inco 10, Doc Pro server for Register Deeds, to name 2. We've discussed this previously, and I believe we have numbers and budgetary stuff set aside for that. Dakota State University have mailed out my devices for our prerequisites for our secure SD project that's coming up. They should be arriving tomorrow, and I'll place them on our network here, and they'll do their internal pen testing, which basically hopefully doesn't point out any issues that I don't know about, but we're working together with the DSU and CISA to secure our internal network. Speaking of secure SD, we did get spending approval for our secure SD project, our email migration and our domain migration. I've got spending authority for $4,700 for the migration itself, and $66,500 for our setup, licensing, etc., for our secure SD. So I think that's a great thing to have. That'll cover us here for next 2-3 years, hopefully.
That has to be a relief for you.
Yes, this has been something I've been pushing since Kevin started the process, and I take the ball and kind of roll with it. It's just a huge project in of itself. I mean, there's a lot of intricacies and dependencies. That's all I got to report for you guys this morning. Any questions?
Can I meet you in the other room a minute?
Absolutely.
And how long this got computer troubles?
I'm his.
Do you have time?
Yeah,
You've been saying all this stuff that you have to do, Tony.
I talked to him as I came in. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I'm on his incident report. I'm
Thank
sure.
you for helping Commissioner Creed.
You're on everybody's incident report, Doreen.
Planning Department.
Tanya Vig, Meade County Planning Director. Our building permits are a little down this month. We're the same. We're down to 25 or 30. Did 25 new permits, which is down a little bit, but not much. Just trying to get all the information through. So next month you'll probably see a spike because a lot of things just went out the door at the end of the month again. A lot of the homes are a lot bigger than they used to be, so review's taking a little longer, so the permits kind of get bogged down. Cell towers are still upgrading their equipment and antennas. Still moving forward with all those. I'm still working with the contractors. When South Dakota Plumbing Commission changed their subcontractor licensing program, still trying to get everyone to submit their new certificates. That's been a challenge on that. I have been working with Balanced Rock Solar. I gave you, if you want to pull that up. I just want to bring this to your attention. I didn't know what I needed. I've been visited with Rich and Talbot on this. But on June 13th of 2023, Balanced Rock came in with a siting permit, which was approved. What they're proposing to do is move the black hatched access easement over to the magenta, and using an existing approach that's already there. After field inspections, they believe that this is a safer location. Grading will be easier, less trees taken out. The site distances are more effective on Alkali Road. They just wanted to work with me and see if I needed approval from the commission on the siting so they could start working with the easement agreements with the landowners. So, as his thoughts were on that, or if I just notified you and that was enough.
Yeah, so my comments back to Anya was, if they're only just changing an access point that's on property they control, I didn't see an issue with having to come back for us for a formal modification. It seems to make sense where they're putting it, and in fact they're taking out less trees. I think it's better break between where the substation is and the road. So I don't see an issue with
I'd echo that, and it does line up with the approach across the road as well. So
They will rebuild that ag approach to a commercial approach. New culverts sized correctly, wider, the radiuses and everything.
And highways seen, obviously the approach is right across, so it makes more sense. That was my question as far as the approach should be concerned. If the highway's okay with the approach, then.
have you seen this?
I have not shared this try. I just
Okay,
have been working
that's
with
fine.
FMG.
It sounds like it would be.
I think it is a better location.
Okay.
I don't know that for us an access.
Okay. I just will get back to FMG and let them know to move forward with the easement agreement. Questions on the KPI? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hick. Anyone here from Veteran Services, Emergency Management? Let's move down to Highway real quick. Before 10 o'clock.
Good morning, Commissioners. Troy Eastman, Highway Superintendent. This is our latest traffic plan with the average daily traffic counts. If there's any questions.
On Haydraw, that's the one we're working on a big grant for the bridge on that one. Is that correct?
Not on Haydraw, no.
Haydraw, okay.
There's, several in the works, but not on Haydraw. That's where we're crushing gravel right now, though.
Oh, okay. All right. That's why it makes sense.
Any questions on this road report? On down to surplus gravel pit 18 from last meeting, October 28th.
Okay, yeah, this is the pit that we wanted to surplus the gravel just because we need to get it moved, and we don't really plan on using it on our road. So went through the process to get the quotes and all that. So now we've established a baseline price, and now we want to put it out to bid.
And there's requirements from the landowner on this now as well, correct?
Yes, there is.
Okay, so we need to put this, you want to put this up for bid is what you're saying? So
Yep, we sent the advertisement out to the paper, and it'll run twice here, starting I think tomorrow or the next day is the first time it runs, so.
Okay. When is the bid opening? Is that on the 25th? Is that what I read? Mike?
I believe that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so nothing more to update until we get the bids in on the 25th.
Yep.
Okay.
Because we didn't make a motion last time.
Yeah, we'll have to have a motion then to have the bids on the 25th, and back at 10 o'clock, I would assume.
I'll make a motion to begin the bid process for Pit 18 surplus gravel with bid opening set at 10 a.m. November 25th, 2025 at the Erskine Building, assuming, is that in here or glass room?
We usually have the bid opening
Do we have
here.
Is that our commission day? It is, okay.
Yeah.
So in this room.
Your motion should include the tonnage.
Okay. For 15,000 tons of gravel, that has to be removed by 10/28 in that. Uh, 14,755 tons of gravel.
And in 14 days,
Has to be removed within 14 days after the bid.
yes, unless they work out a deal, depending on, whatever they work out with the landowner, that's a possibility, but I guess that's, from what we were told, that's what we have.
So then is it after 14 days, is it our gravel still then?
I think the landowner then could basically do what he wants with it. I'm not sure, but I guess that's between whoever buys it.
Yeah, if they buy it, subject to the condition. close on
But-
it, but, okay.
And if they don't, then the gravel would belong to the landowner.
Well, not necessarily.
That's what I was wondering, if it would be our gravel then, if they don't get it removed, or,
It'd be their fight with the land.
Yeah, we would be paid.
okay, 'cause we're paid, so we're out of it, so it's no longer.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so your motion was to set the bid
For the
opening at 10 o'clock
on the 25th
the 25th,
for 14,755 tons.
being removed December 9th.
Should be removed within 14 days of the purchase.
Do I have a second? Motion and second on the floor to have this bid opening at our next meeting. Discussion to that motion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hey, we got C3, design Antelope Creek Bridge on Antelope Creek Bridge.
Yeah, this is a big grant project that's coming down the line, I guess. I met out there with Bros Engineering and the DOT to look at the different designs that they have come up with to replace this bridge, and in order to raise the bridge up to accommodate the design that's required, I mean, it's a tremendous amount of dirt work that needs to be done. It goes way back, like, I don't know, a half a mile at least each way from the bridge.
You grab Tony, please.
Yeah, it's to raise it up. I mean, it takes a lot. And then they had three designs, so they took the lesser one, but in order to take the lesser one that doesn't meet the flood elevation, you know, we got to sign a variance in order to do that, which leaves us the liability, I guess, if it floods. We did this knowingly. So I don't know. It's either way, it's going to be a big project, and if we want to go through the big grant, this is one of the options. Otherwise, we can do a lot of dirt work and spend a lot more money there. But yeah, I guess it's
I talked to Troy, or Earl and I both talked to Troy this morning about this. A couple things on this application. The ADT, I think, is incorrect. It's at 56, and I know that road's probably 400 or 500 is where it should be. The other thing on this is I don't know if we want the responsibility, if we want that liability to roll back on the county. I have asked Troy to go back to them to see if they will cover the liability and or if they will allow us to build the bridge the right way. I think I'd prefer to table this until the next meeting based on that, because it does flood, and there's two drainages that come into that location, backs up into that residences all along there. So my preference would be to push it up to the right elevation. I think that's the right answer.
yeah. There's been multiple times where the road has topped with water since I've been here, and I know it's a flood-prone area to begin with, and then yeah, I don't want to restrict it anymore. Or if we have a chance to do it right, it's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, the way that this is written is that exceptions for a 10-year design. So every 10 years, roughly, that's going to overtop and flood. And I think the requirement that they'd like to be built to is a 50-year design. Is that correct?
Yeah. It depends on the ADT and what they classify the road as, but yeah, for the amount of traffic that's on this, I'm positive it should be designed to 50 years.
So I would prefer to table this until the next meeting so Troy can get some additional information.
Okay,
I'm not comfortable with
that's
it.
And the other thing about it is the bridge is in bad shape right now. It's reduced weight, and even if we get the grant and this and that, we're looking at like 27 before it may start construction at the best. So design next year, and then following year, if we're awarded, would be 2027.
That sounds like good. We just won't take action on this meeting, and we'll just put it on the agenda next meeting.
I would prefer that.
I think that sounds wise. I had some other questions, but I can wait till. Yeah, it sounds like you do as well, so we'll get those ironed out. So.
And I guess there is another option too. If we don't go the big grant, we want to replace it sooner. I mean, obviously we could just bite the bullet and pay for it all ourselves and have it designed and fit it next year.
Must have more change in the cushions of couch out the highway department than I realized.
More permits need to go out the door.
You guys found some money trees out there?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We'll just make sure that gets on the agenda next week. Any other questions for highway?
I do have a couple of comments. So Elkvale Road and New Underwood Road we have been working on, and with the winter coming and the temperatures dropping, we've had some issues with our oil, getting our oil for those. I think the current plan, I think what Earl and I talked to Troy about today is just putting a top coat of mag on both those roads and bidding those oils out for next year, because we are having some issues with finding contractors and getting application of that. The spec that we have is at 35 and rising.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Earl mentioned that he wasn't as comfortable with that as maybe the Minnesota group is. So we would like to wait and bid those for next year. So that's I mean, it's a change for everybody, but it's not wasting some money for the, which is a conversation. You know, I mean, it's where we're at.
Okay, so essentially, and you're talking Elkvale, you're talking obviously by the gun range and stuff,
Yep.
I assume.
Yeah, so I did have a conversation with Game Fish and Parks with Mr. Kanta and Secretary Roebling. They were okay with that. They were willing to hold their money till next year, knowing that, you know, we're still working on that and we'll bid it with the rest of the projects. But nobody wants to throw money at something that's maybe not going to work.
How are you confident in the mag situation on New Underwood Road? It seems like we're having trouble getting that road to seal.
Yeah, I'm not confident with anything on that road currently.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about throwing money, so I don't.
My idea on the mag, and I could be wrong, but we have some sections that have held up really well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple sections that we discussed today that we think probably have some maybe some fines or something that got picked up, and then it messed up the mix in that. So the areas that we have that are holding up, we would like to protect for next year. The ones that aren't holding up, they're just not going to hold up. But we may get some moisture to stay out of the bed that way.
So where are we at with that road then? Is it when we get to next year, is it going to be a start over project? Like I said, what are we into it?
Well, we talked about working on repairing the areas that aren't locking up or, staying where we want them. Basically dig it out and replace the material. But, yeah.
Your estimate, I'm guessing about 70%, 75% of that road is in good condition.
Yep.
There's probably 25 to 30% that's not holding. So, I'd like to protect the 70% of the road, and we're going to have to dig up a portion of that next year. We would have had to either way. So we're about $300,000 into it currently. Yep. We assigned $1 million for that project, and if we put something on it now, I think we're just wasting.
Yeah, the chip seal wouldn't have held up in those areas we couldn't even get to do the chip seal before it was falling apart. So, it wouldn't have lasted anyway if we would have sprayed it right away. So, I don't know. I wanted to save the money and fix the base right before we topped it off, because most of the road is good. There's a few small sections. It's not that bad, but if the weather allows, we'll continue to work on it and, hopefully figure it out.
So, just so I understand correctly, so we're putting a mag over what's there. We're not going to add any material, gravel, or any sand or anything. We're just going to put.
It would be a top shot, which is a light shot of mag chloride. That will, if I understand correctly, not affect the AutoSeal application next year, because the mag should come out by that time.
Yeah, it dilutes down and wears off, and if need be, just smooth out the road anyway. If it stays solid, you just basically take a blade with the carbide teeth on it, and you can scrape off the top in order to smooth it out, or mill it off, basically, is what you do. So.
And we do have mag in our tanks currently.
Yep.
So we have material that we've already purchased. So this is kind of the last-ditch effort to keep something tied together on that road.
It'll help with the winter conditions, too.
Any other questions for highway? Not, let's move down to our scheduled items. E. E1, 2026 liquor and wine cider renewals. Thank you, Troy.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dawn Christensen, Chief Deputy Auditor. Before you, we have the liquor and wine and cider renewals for 2026. We have received all of the applications. All of the fees are paid. All of the taxes are paid, and Sheriff West does not have any concerns with the applicants.
Okay, is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak to this? Anybody from the public wish to speak to this? Not seeing anybody come forward, I'll open this up for commissioners' questions, comments, and/or action.
I'd like to thank everybody for getting all of their stuff in on time. I think it's a huge hassle for the auditor's office to maintain this process and continuing these hearings every year. So I'm very appreciative of everybody that does have a license to put forth that effort. So thanks.
I think it might be the first time since I've been on the commission that we've got them all.
We did have one rogue applicant, but that was changes beyond, there were some circumstances beyond the owner's control at that moment due to a management company, but we got it handled.
No, fantastic.
Really good. Any other comments and/or action?
So I can make a motion to approve these wholesale, right? All right. I'll make a motion to approve the renewal for the liquor license cider renewal for 2026 for the spreadsheet listed for action.
I'll second.
Motion is second on the floor to approve these liquor, wine, and cider license renewals. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. E2, 2026 medical cannabis dispensary renewal. Is anybody, or go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioner Rhea Crane, Meade County Auditor. We have the application received and the $15,000 renewal fee for Puffy's Dispensary. Taxes are paid on the mobile home that they own, and we are asking for your renewal today.
Anybody from the public wish to speak to this? Anybody? Okay. Anybody else from the public wish to speak to this? Anybody else wish to speak to this? Nobody's coming forward. I'll open this up to Commissioner or close public comment and open up Commissioner comments, questions, and/or action.
Mr. Kittrick, are you currently meeting all of your requirements, open days and all that other stuff?
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, Kit Jeffries with Puffy's Dispensary. Thank you for the question, Commissioner Liggett. Yes, we are in compliance with all of our operating requirements. Puffy's Dispensary as a whole has been inspected over 30 times by state and local agencies. We've passed every compliance check with flying colors, never been fined, suspended, or had a license revoked, and just ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the Commission? And/or action?
Make a motion to approve the 2026 medical cannabis dispensary renewal.
Motion is second on the floor to approve the medical cannabis dispensary renewal. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for coming today, Mr. Kittrick.
Commissioners, excuse me, Commissioner Severn, did you second that one also? Thank you.
Sorry about that. Trying not to cough at the same time.
Brings us to,
Yeah, no problem.
who's got the disco going?
I think Doc Ebert.
Oh, okay.
He's out there dancing.
He's out there. Okay, good for
I
him.
think he went out there.
Brings us to E3 on our agenda, Ordinance 59, which we've had several. We're on the second reading of that, which we continued from the last meeting.
And this is a continued second read. Attached to board docs is what we hope is the final. We'll highlight the changes made on page 2. Added section 1.12, which was for a property owner to purchase for someone coming in. If they're bringing in a hauler, the property owner can purchase it rather than the operator of the vehicle purchase it.
We need to, before you go to that one, Ken, we need to make a change back, in my opinion, on 1.110. We have the word crossed out here on the last.
The paved, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that should not be crossed out. It should be, in fact, it should be any other paved roads. The first part of it is no over width, over length, or over height vehicle may operate on any road within 10 miles city of Sturgis from 1 week prior to and through 1 week after the motorcycle rally without specific approval. The intent of the last one is no over width vehicle exceeding 13 feet in width may operate on any other paved road. The intent was to keep the wide vehicles off of paved roads during the motorcycle rally, outside of that 10-mile jurisdiction. So it'd be other than what's on there. So it needs those two words added, other, and then paved needs to stay in there.
Okay.
But thank you. And then 112, as Ken just described, that's been brought up a few times. What if I have a load of calves come in? We have a business operator contact Commissioner Liggett and I that has different trucks coming in, and just last week, and this would give them the ability to buy a permit, whether it's over height, weight, length, whatever, versus the truck. So, thank you, Ken. Go on.
Section 3.1 changed the limitation to 25,000 pounds on any axle rather than the 10%, which is the state formula. 4.1 did this a change to allow for the overweight, but limitation of 160,000 gross vehicle weight. Over length.
The next question I have on this, and as much as you and I have talked about this, I probably should have had this out before, but it's clear on the single trip that the commission can make an exception or grant more. Can they do that within this? It doesn't specify that in the annual, but I would assume that would be a variance that could go along. The commission could still make a decision to go more.
As a single trip with the over.
I understand,
over
but can they do so on this annual?
As written, no.
Okay. Would that?
No, my apologies. The highway superintendent has the limitations. The board must approve anything in excess. So 4.2 allows for the board to have the exception.
Okay, so thank you. So it does cover it. Thank you.
Some renumbering under 4.3. Change in 5.1. Just to make it clear that you can go up to 13 feet without a permit. And if you're over 13 feet, then you need a permit.
That's it. Yeah, should the language, instead of saying shall be each vehicle, no, sorry, that's in 5.1. Yeah. Each vehicle, or no, I think shall's fine.
It's an either or.
Yep, we're fine.
Over length was substantially rewritten here. I believe Gary had conversations with property owners to come up with this language.
Yeah, Troy and I had a conversation with Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, who's in the audience today, and they do a lot of hauling of over length, and they're here, and I really appreciate the time that they spent with us because they got the permits out and showed us what goes into the permits, what the permits cost, what actual lengths. He's way more knowledgeable on this stuff than I am, and it was very helpful. So most of these are in compliance with what the state allows, is how we decided to write this. The $50, before it was $100, we brought it down to $50. Actually, I think the state is at $25, but we didn't think an annual at $50 was unreasonable. So that's where a lot of these numbers came from, was that conversation. Like I said, Troy and I met with them one evening, and they were very, very helpful to do that.
And finally, 7.1 over height. Made it a little more explicit as to who needed a permit and changed the price of the permit. Those were the changes from the second reading.
Again, the height came, Mr. Bennett helped us with height as well. He hauls a lot of items. Length, height is an issue for him, and the 15 feet, the way I understood it, is basically, I think the state says 14 feet is over height. So what we decided was let's make that at 15 feet, and over 15 feet. I guess I don't want to penalize guys just hauling hay, and that's about where that 15 feet comes in, and so that seemed reasonable to me. 15 feet and over, and Mr. Bennett explained that the state won't even allow a hay permit to even go out above 15 feet. So I thought, well, we can set the 15 is where we can start that. So I thought that was reasonable. So. Okay, thank you, Ken. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak to this as proposed, or have anything else? So we've been through this several times. Anybody from the public here that wishes to speak to this ordinance? Anybody from the public wish to speak to this? Not, I'm going to close public comment and open it up to commissioner questions, comments, and/or action.
So I'd like to thank everybody that has called and had conversations with the commission, and for you guys taking time to talk to Gary and Troy on what can make this workable for everybody. So I appreciate the input from the county residents and the haulers in the county.
I same thing. We've got it was a hard task to do this, knowing that we had some roads that we had to put down at that 80,000 pound weight limit, is what made this important, because we got to keep guys on the road. There's no doubt about that. And we got a lot of suggestions from a lot of people. I know that's going to be it's somewhat of a headache. There's no doubt about that. But I think we've got a pretty good product going forward. And like I said, I do appreciate the heavy haulers, Mr. Bennett, Ms. Bennett, that you guys took the time with us here the other day and got some language in there that seemed reasonable. I would like to get this passed. I think we spent plenty of time on this. I will ask that we could make an effective date no sooner than the first of the year. We do have some things that we need to work on as far as the application goes. That's going to take some time. I know Troy and I have discussed what we need to do to put into that. So it's still reasonable, I think, if we could make start have an effective date be after the first of the year. That would anticipate. I was going to ask Commissioner Severn if he'd want to help with it as well. Some language for an application. But yeah, it's going to take some time between Troy and the two of us and Ken, and I want to get with as many the truck drivers that we can to say, is this something that looks reasonable that we can get turned in? I know IT is very busy right now. We may have to limp through this without an online application as far as right now, but nonetheless, we can get something out there so we can get it done for the first year would be my goal. So, or actually in a couple weeks so they can start applying for the first year would be my goal. Any other questions, comments, interaction on this?
Make a motion to approve Ordinance 59 effective January 1st, 2026.
I'll second that.
Mr. Liggett, if we could add, with language as amended in Section 1.10.
With language as amended in Section 1.
Well,
everything else was already on the document. That was the only thing that's
changed
to the actual document.
Oh, certainly, yeah. And I guess we'd probably need to approve the proposed languages that was brought for us today as well.
No, because it's in the second read, you're approving the second reading and adopting.
Okay.
So because that other paved was not included, it should be in the motion.
I see what you're saying, but that wasn't, okay. Even though that language was not approved because we accepted the proposed changes last time that we had last time.
You're adopting as written on the board.
Okay.
We'll take out the red, we'll take off the draft, make it a final.
If that's how it's said.
And the only thing that has to be in the motion then is what is not on the document.
Yep. Okay, if that's how it's said, then that'd be acceptable, that's right. Okay, thank you.
That's how I meant it to be.
Understood. And Dawn will work her magic to make it look good too.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I I can repeat that. So, I made a motion to approve ordinance 59 as amended in section 1.1. All right.
With an effective date.
With the effective date of January 1st, 2026.
Motion and a second on the floor to approve ordinance 59 as written with the proposed changes in the amended changes in 1.10, effective January 1st, 2026. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Want to take a quick break? Move along. Let's take a quick break. back to order. Let's go down to commission. D, communication to commission, just a few updates. Sturgis Area Arts Council and Sturgis Public Library Board of Trustees. Lance Shear has been representing Meade County on that board, and he's writing us to let us know that he will not fulfill that term next year. So he'll fulfill it until the end of this year, but we'll have to. He's done that for us for some time now, so we'll have to find somebody else to represent us on that board when we make those appointments first of the year. Quarterly report from and an update from the community health nurse. I know we did say, in fact, I might have been the biggest stickler on. We'd appreciate if they'd come in face to face, just to let everybody know that I told them through RIA that it'd be nice if they could maybe report twice a year instead of versus 4 times a year. I guess if I misspoke, I guess we can have them come next meeting. But I think if they'd come possibly once in, I'd say maybe right at the first of the year is what first meeting in January or something like that, or second meeting in January, somewhere in there, and then they come back in June, July usually. So I think that would suffice, in my opinion. Anything else on that? Not. Is there any updates the commissioner's been working on that they'd like to report on?
Yeah, I got a couple. So I have a meeting with Piedmont on jurisdictional transfer of some roads tomorrow. Earl and I and Troy are going to go, and that will wrap up the jurisdictional transfers from the county to the municipalities on the roadways. And then the next step after that is working with DOT on reclassification of some secondary and primary roads. So as soon as we get this little piece done, hopefully we can get that all to the next step. So the other thing is I went to the ribbon cutting at the Game Fish and Parks archery range, or the gun range. A very nice facility. They did a really good job. The highway department did a fantastic job of getting the road up to a nice road going in there. So thank you, Troy, for that. It's been some challenges, but yeah, it's a nice facility, and they had a good showing. So Governor Rounds was there, or Roden was there, and we had some senators, I think, were there as well.
So. I've had a lot of questions on that road, and I have been correct that GF&P is reimbursing the county for.
Yes, that's correct. The road work that has been done, Game Fish and Parks, we have not taken a payment at this point because we thought we were going to finish it this year. We had a conversation with them, and they're going to reimburse us for the work that's been done for the year, which is gravel hauling and base stabilization. They did not repair the bridge, but when Earl and I walked through that, the bridge wasn't their responsibility. That was a crash on the bridge that caused the issue, not necessarily due to the range itself. So the county took the bill on the bridge, but we do have about a $400,000 estimate for the road work that's being done.
Since there's been so many questions on that, I would really like it if some reference to that could be put in our minutes, because I know a lot of our rural people do read minutes, and that seems to have been a big dialogue on the thing you guys don't read, and that is Facebook.
Yeah, we have not taken any payment from them, but when I talked to Mr. Kanta the other day, he did say they were going to square up with us for the year. They did secure funds for next year for the auto seal.
How much did they approve that they would reimburse for?
I don't think we've provided that bill to them yet, have we?
They're just going to a certain percent, or?
No, they'll pay us for all the work that has been done.
All the work, including all the material?
So far, yes. Not next year's work, but this year's work. So.
About how many people were there?
I don't know. It was an invitation only, but it seemed like there was 1,000 people probably in there.
I'm glad you represented us. I hadn't put it in my calendar, and I forgot about. I wasn't sure I'd be here. Did anybody else go?
Nobody on the commission did, but we did have representation from a number of people within the county. landowners as well as employees of the county that I saw there. So.
Any other updates from the commission?
Were any of the neighbors there?
Not that I saw.
Any other updates from the commission?
I think our update will be in exec.
Yeah, I'm just asking if there's any updates that anyone wants to share at this present time. If not, let's move down to the auditor. Let's skip down from how the agenda is written. I see Al's so he loves it here, and like I said, I think he's got a cot or a bed downstairs now. But let's bring up, let's go to F4 on the agenda. I think that's the item that he's here for, and I'm sure he, as much as he loves us, I'm sure he'd just soon get going as well. So.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rhea Crane, Meade County Auditor. And since I took over in October of 2023, this has been a project that I've talked about, I think, in most of our monthly updates, some cleaning up of the reconciliation, making it an easier process. So in 2021, the Pioneer Banks closed when we switched financial institutions. At that time, we had outstanding checks that we have been dealing with monthly that we're wanting to get written off. So we have a list of the checks before you today. And I will preface this with these checks, because they're in the old account, are not even in our in-code system currently. The checks on the left, we really have very little information about other than who they were written to. The checks on the right, we do have some information about, but we are asking you to write these checks off. And should anybody come forward that has a check that was issued to them within the last 6 years, the county will uphold its obligation to rewrite the check, reissue a check to them.
You know, I went through there. I recognized some of those names.
As did we.
Yeah.
We don't know some of the names that we recognize, we don't know if they're people that, chose not to cash a check for some particular reason. We don't know the details behind it.
I wondered that on some of them. I wonder if they felt the county could use the money more than they could.
I would just add there are some checks on here that are more than 6 years old. It's discretionary with the commissioners as to whether to honor those checks. Less than 6 years, you shall reissue. More than 6, they come to the commissioners who may reissue.
And my only question was that is not collected. We don't have to send that to the state, do we, Al? Can we put that in our piggy bank, or does
this goes back in ours?
Okay, that's
when you write off a check, and as she has in her notes, working forward, I was very appreciative to work with the auditor's office it's confusing stuff. We had not been turning over to the state on outstanding checks for quite some time. The plan moving forward is to have the auditor present to you checks that would otherwise go to the state for you to consider writing off before the deadline that we have to trigger. So then the money stays in the county. We still honor our obligations for up to 6 years regardless, but that way it stays in our accounts rather than going to the states unclaimed.
So the last time that we could find that this had been done was 2019. We did put in item E3, which I have currently on your monitors, our plan for moving forward. Where outstanding checks will be presented to you in May of every year so that they can be written off at that time rather than be sent to the state as unclaimed property.
So F3 and F4 is essentially tied together here. Yeah.
F3 does not require action. F4 does require action.
Okay. Is there any question on F3? We just will handle this at the same time. If not, let's stay with F4, which we've been on. Is there any other questions, comments on F4? So the action required would be to the commission write these checks off. Is that correct?
Yes. There is a kind of a proposed motion on the very bottom.
I'll make a motion to write off the checks from the Pioneer Bank account that we have closed. Those as presented by the auditor at checks less than 16 years or is less than 6 years old. If presented within 6 years from the date of the check, we will still honor. Those after that are presented more than 6 years from the date of the check will not be honored going forward. Sorry about that, Dawn. I jumped around a little bit. Make it sound pretty.
I'll second.
Motion and second on the floor. Can you repeat the motion, please, Don? So we make sure we get this right.
Motion to write off the checks from the Pioneer Bank account as proposed, presented by the auditor, with the checks less than 6 years old, if presented, will still be honored, and those checks written more than 6 years old will not be honored.
Making that, or, if presented, I don't want somebody to come in 2 years from now on an 8-year-old check and say it's within 6 years of today's date.
Date of
So
issuance,
it's got to be that are brought in within 6 years of the date of issuance.
Mr. Chair, if I can comment on the motion?
Sure.
I think it's inappropriate to say that over 6 years will not be, because that would be directing the future board, because the statute allows that the commissioners may. By precluding over 6 years, you would be indicating that 3 years from now you won't honor, and there'll be different people on the board who may want to honor.
But how else would we make that motion for this present time?
Well, what I could do is change that. Any checks issued more than 6 years ago in this list will not.
Yep, in this year, yeah.
That's good.
So it takes care of those checks
Yep.
that are more than 6 years old right now.
Can you repeat that, please?
So I'm modifying that in where
The
I
last
talk about
part.
the last part so it will read that of the checks in the list, any that were issued more than 6 years ago will not be honored.
I concur.
Got it? You want to repeat it just to make sure we got it?
Motion to write off the checks from the Pioneer Bank account as proposed, presented by the auditor, with the checks less than 6 years old as of the date of reissuance, if presented, will still be honored, and any checks issued more than 6 years will not be honored if presented. You want reissuance used again there? More.
We good? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, motion and second on the floor. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you all for joining
Mr.
us
Chair,
today.
can I just throw out there all the kudos to the staff in the auditor's office, and to Al, and to Ken, because this was literally a huge undertaking to get this process accomplished.
Yeah, good job, you guys. This has been a long time in the works. Let's go back to F1 now, budget reports through October 25th. 2025, excuse me.
Before you are the countywide expense and countywide revenue budget reports for October 2025. Do you have any questions on those?
I was concerned that 8% of the property tax hadn't been collected. I mean, that's almost $1 million.
Well, that was collected in October, which, let's see.
Over 31, right?
Yes, it would be included in there.
But
In my conversations with Robin, she is preparing for the delinquent taxes that will be published, and she said that it is about the same amount as normal, perhaps a little bit larger, but not a huge amount.
I knew that was right at the deadline, but I also know that unlike in the past, where sometimes we had to wait more than a month, to get checks in the bank. But I did notice we have some departments that cost a lot of money to operate are really thin on remaining revenue.
And with that said, I can tell you that the auditor's office is preparing to send out a letter to all department heads to have them review their accounts before the end of the year, review their budgets, I should say, so that we can start preparing for any adjustments that we need to make at year end.
And we reminded them, I think last meeting, or the meeting before, is that's getting as important for the commissioners to look at their departments, their liaisons of, because we're going to have to, we have to make budget adjustments. We have to do that very soon. Any other questions on F1 budget reports? Now let's move down to F2 overtime report. Any questions?
Same question.
Yep.
We've handled F3 and F4. Let's move down to F5. Which is got a letter of resignation the other day.
Commissioners, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to serve you as the auditor since October of 2023. And I think at this point in time, we have a very good staff on board in the auditor's office. And I am prepared to, I have submitted my resignation effective November 23rd.
Thank you for helping.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I will probably need action to accept this letter of resignation.
I'll move to accept it with my thanks too for pulling double duty for so long.
It's been a very big learning experience, and I've enjoyed most of it.
I'll second that.
Motion on a second on the floor to accept this letter of resignation from Rhea Crane as the Meade County Auditor. I just want to say thanks. I'm obviously liaison of that department. It was kind of some bumps a few times trying to get some of this budget stuff figured out, but we overcame, and did a really good job managing several things. So
thank you.
For those of you, it's just the auditor position. When I saw the letter, I made sure it just said it wasn't anything else. It was auditor. So Rhea will still be around as our equalization director and executive director. So.
And I will still look forward to helping in the auditor's office as needed. And in fact,
we left it blank, but I'm going to recommend that we set the auditor wage at $75,000. It was left blank because the commission did not make a decision on that. So, but I'd recommend we put $75,000 into that spot. This resolution will go into effect on November 24th, which will coincide with the payroll. So that pay period is how that's stated in this resolution. That'll be effective November 24th. Any other questions, comments, and/or action?
Thank you, Don, for stepping.
And she hasn't stepped up yet.
Well,
Yeah, it's the next.
That's the next step.
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution with the county auditor's annual salary set at $75,000 a year.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor to approve this resolution with the county auditor's salary being at $75,000. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let's go to F7, which would be appointment of a Meade County auditor. It is, Dawn Christensen's been down in that office for some time now, and she is, I certainly think, I've talked to several of you individually, and I think you all agree that she's done a tremendous job for us, and I think she is ready to step into the position of auditor. It would be my recommendation as the liaison of that department to recommend the appointment of Don Christensen. I'm not going to make it in the form of a motion, but I'd like to recommend that. Effective, the motion should include that that'd be effective November 24th, so that it'll go on for the next payroll. Any other questions, comments?
Are you agreeable to that, Tom?
I wasn't going to ask that.
I am agreeable, and thank you for the opportunity.
I'll make a motion.
And I know your dad's happy too.
I'll make a motion to appoint Don Christensen to the auditor, effective on the 24th. Is that right?
Of November.
I'll second.
Motion and second on the floor to appoint Don Christensen, currently our Chief Deputy Auditor, the Meade County Auditor, effective November 24th, 2026. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Yeah, thank you as well, Don. You've worked very hard for us, and we appreciate it. And I assume we'll have to swear in on the 24th.
Swearing is going to be here in this room on the 24th. We haven't determined if it's 8:30 or 9 yet, but Robin Schrake is going to be swearing her in. So you're welcome to attend.
Okay, so good. Thank you. Send us an email out, would you please?
I sure will.
Brings us down to consent calendar. Anything on the consent calendar? Otherwise, can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Executive session. There will be a need for executive session, legal, contractual, and personnel.
Motion to go into executive session for legal, contractual matters.
I'll second.
Motion and second to go into executive session. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're in non-executive session. executive session, and I believe we have completed our business and the agenda, and I will declare us adjourned. Thank you.